So, welcome to the show, Charlie. I'm so excited to have you. I've had so many questions on collagen, and I know that you run CBD Supplements, which is a multi source collagen. So, when I heard you on my dear friend Angela Foster's podcast, I said, oh, I have to reach out to Charlie. I've been looking for someone to speak to who's an expert in the field for so long. And as soon as I heard you on that podcast, I knew you were the right person to reach out to. So, thank you for getting me in your busy schedule.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jen. This is awesome. It's fantastic to be on your podcast. It's an honor. And I don't know if I'd call myself an expert. I mean, I'm even learning as much about this subject every day. It's a fascinating subject, and I think that's what makes it so much fun, is that there's new things coming out almost every day, it feels like, in this collagen world. So looking forward to diving in with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key, is just the desire to learn more about it. And collagens have been a hot topic for a while. I get tons of questions on it. I don't, the information I was giving out to people about 5 years ago is so different than what we're learning now. And I think it's good that we're learning more and we're sharing more, and the science is actually giving it the attention that it deserves. So before we jump into some of the nuances, what exactly is collagen? Can you even break down? People hear the word collagen in your skin, collagen in your joints. It's everywhere. It's more than that. But what is collagen, and why is it even important in the human body?
And it's actually a hard answer, because it's so prevalent in our bodies. I mean, the simple answer is collagen is a protein, and it's the most abundant protein in our bodies. But what does that even mean? Well, if most people, and I'm sure most of your listeners, understand that protein is the building block of everything. Okay, so let's expand on that. If collagen is a protein and it's the most abundant protein in our body, what does that mean? It means that collagen is the foundation of our bones, our skin, our tendons, our ligaments, all that goody joint material. Yes, it's your hair, skin, and nails, what I refer to as the beauty factor. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. But it's also, the foundation of a ton of internal organs. Your small intestine is lined with collagen called villi or villi. I've heard it said both ways. I still don't know. 4 years later, I still don't know how to pronounce it.
I call it villi. I call it villi.
There we
Yeah.
go. I mean, and most people are like, what the heck is that? Well, those are little, think of like a coral reef that looks like this. That's what the inside of your small intestine looks like, which is what's digesting your food. It's fighting good or bad bacteria. There's good bacteria that lives there. Like, if you have weak collagen, you're probably going to have a weak digestive system. So collagen can even help with that. It's a hard question to answer because collagen does so much, but the foundation is protein, most abundant protein in your body. We're looking at a ton of collagen as we're looking at each other over this video call. I mean, we're basically, water, gas, and collagen as a living human being. And I just love that collagen's finally getting the attention, because as I'm sure we're going to uncover, I say collagen is a protein. It's almost in a league of its own. It is that important. I wish it's like the fourth missing macronutrient: carbs, fat, protein, collagen. I wish, but I'm sure we'll get into the why.
Okay. Oh gosh, that brought up questions that I didn't really have to ask you. So I'm curious now, because we know, our bacteria and our microbiome are so essential. So I bet having healthy collagen and then having a healthier gut probably supports akkermansia and things like that help the lining of the gut in addition to it. You would know the data on that more than I would. And then I'm kind of also curious about how collagen interplays with muscles. So are you familiar with Dr. Gabrielle Lyon? And she muscle centric medicine, and she talks about how muscle, not skin, is the largest organ of the body. Well, she's going to be on the podcast in a few weeks, and she talks about how important muscle is. And I'm curious how collagen interplays with the muscular organ as well as the other organs.
Well, what is muscle sitting on top of, and what's it connected to, and how's it connected? So, I mean, I agree with everything that she's saying. It's probably one of the top, if not the top, predictors of longevity in life,
Mm-hmm.
with just how strong you are and what kind of shape your muscles are in. But if you think about it, our muscular system is sitting on top of a massive skeleton, which is made of collagen. I think of a bone to describe it. Think of a spider web. And then all those hard minerals that we hear, magnesium, phosphate, calcium, that's the filling in the holes of the spider web. But the web is the collagen holding the bone together. Well, muscle sitting on top of that. What's connecting muscles together and muscles to bones? It's tendons and ligaments. That's made of collagen. So I see it. It's not that one is better than the other, because I don't think we'd be alive if we only had just muscle or just collagen. It's the yin and the yang. You need both. And I would defer to her that she could probably talk a whole lot more about the muscle, because in terms of the actual structure of muscle, collagen is like 1 to 10%. It is not barely any piece of the muscle. Some of them, some of our muscles have that 8 to 10% range, but for the most part, collagen is a supporting role. It's holding it in place. It's connecting it across the body, which is still pretty dang important.
Of course, because it optimizes the function of muscle. So you can have the strongest muscles in the world, but if you don't have good functioning of the supportive structures, you're not doing any good. So with that being said, what are the different types of collagen, and why do people need to supplement, or why do you recommend they supplement as opposed to just being happy with what they have, right? Or getting it from, foods and other things?
It's a great question. So, and collagen is still, it's in its infancy when it comes to research and what we know and what we're finding out. Like you mentioned earlier, that having stronger collagen might lead one to think that your digestive system is going to be in better shape because the collagen that's supporting it is in a better shape. Well, yeah, that makes total intuitive sense. Really hard to prove, in a double-blind placebo, whatever study. Super hard to prove, but and somebody has to fund it. So I say that because there's not a ton of research out there on collagen. Most of the studies that we're referencing on our website, there's 10 or 12 really good studies. They're all pretty small. 100 people, a couple hundred people, and they're testing like for one thing. They're looking at skin, or they're looking at just elbow or certain things, and it's like, we haven't found. I wish that our company would just go bananas, make a ton of money, and then we could throw it all back into this research project of like 100,000 people, just to show the world how powerful collagen can be. So let me get back to your original question of the different types, and what each of them do, and then how you get it. So most collagen in our bodies, type 1, 2, and 3, that makes up over 90% of the collagen. If you're looking at skin, that's type 1, type 3. You're looking at, my elbow, where the tendons and ligaments and joint material, that's type 2. So 1, 2, and 3 are everywhere. And then there's like, gosh, we have a funny article that we mentioned this. Are there 18 types? Are there 26 types? Are there 92 types of collagen? Fact of the matter is, we have no clue.
Yeah.
Most papers I've read and most journals are in that 26 to 28 range. But like our product only has 5 types: 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. And a funny fact about type 4 collagen, there's no way to supplement with it, eat it, nothing. The only way you're going to get type 4 collagen is your body making it. And that's most types of collagen. So 1, 2, and 3 you can get from eating animals. Type 5 you can get from the eggshell membrane. Type 10 you can get from eggs and chicken as well. So each part of the animal, and each animal for that matter, gives us a different type. So beef and fish are really good for types 1 and 3. Type 2 is from chicken. Type 5, like I said, from eggs. Type 10 from eggs and chicken. And another funny, it's not funny fact, it's just a fun fact. There we go. Fun fact about type 5 collagen is that's what makes up the placenta. So pretty stinking important. If you're in that age of life that you're going to grow a child, type 5 collagen is pretty darn important. And it's super hard to get. I mean, you got to eat a ton of eggs. Right. Or you got to take a product like ours that, we get that, when you crack an egg, that like gooey material all over the shell that we end up throwing away. Mm-hmm. That's all collagen.
Gosh, that's crazy.
So
It
one
seems
of
like
our,
so much of our foods that give us collagen, we don't eat, right?
exactly. And
Like I
that's,
had bone marrow the other night for dinner. It was the first time and it was pretty amazing.
and
And
it's pretty delicious.
it was. And I'm thinking, how can I do this myself? It doesn't seem like our society really emphasizes collagen rich foods. And I know like when I'm eating something off the bone, I try to tell myself, okay, eat the ligaments and the cartilage and stuff. I can't actually do it because it's so ingrained from a young age to just eat meat, like the muscle meat, right? So
Yep.
yeah.
We were raised thinking that boneless, skinless chicken breast is the absolute way to go. Excuse me. And like I get the argument that protein is protein and our body is just disassembled the protein into the amino acids that it needs and it wants to use and it transports them all over the body. That's basically what a nutritionist or a dietitian is taught. They're taught that protein breaks down into amino acids your body uses. That's simple. We believe something a little different because don't you find it very strange that the peptide chain, which a peptide chain is just a couple of amino acids linked together. So I should back up. So when you eat a protein and then your body digests that protein, it breaks down into peptides, so multiple amino acids linked together, and then the individual amino acids, the peptide chain that's found in collagen is found nowhere else in the natural world. So the proline, the glycine, and then the hydroxyproline, the hydroxylysine, like the combination of those specific amino acids, one after another, is found nowhere in nature other than animal collagen that we can consume.
So
So
if someone's vegan, they're not getting collagen.
nope.
Okay.
It's one of the, and I'm all for. I mean, I've got friends who are vegan. I've got, we all do. Like, I get it.
Of
Everybody has a
course,
really
yeah.
good reason.
Yeah.
But what I beg a vegan, and it's funny, we actually have a lot of vegans that buy our product because that's just where they compromise. Because
Mhm.
most people are being vegan for health, or at least that's what I hear. That's a whole nother podcast I could talk about. But anyway, so I beg that, like, if you're going to follow that diet, just supplement with our product. Just cheat on your, because it's not really cheating. I mean, we're taking the byproduct of the meat industry and we're creating another product from it, where they would just throw it in the garbage if we didn't
Mhm.
make the product. So really, we're a very green product if you think about it that way. But I mean, I still haven't answered your question of how do you get collagen. You have to eat animals. You have to eat their joints. You have to eat bone marrow. When you're eating a chicken leg and you see that little dangly piece of cartilage, eat it. That is the joint material that will help us protect ours. So if you're just eating sunflower seeds and blueberries and kale, that's a whole lot better than Oreos, but you're not getting collagen. You're giving your body the vitamins and nutrients that maybe it can synthesize its own collagen from, and it will. Our bodies are amazing, but once you hit about 25, 30 years old, your internal manufacturing systems that create collagen from the food that you eat start to deteriorate. Maybe it's only 1% a year, but that's why when you look at a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old, their skin's going to look a little different. The injuries that happen to joints are going to be a little different. We call this decline aging. And it's just your back's going to feel bad when you're 60. Your elbows aren't going to be what they are. And once you reach about 50 or 60, that collagen production decreases by 5 to 10%. So that's why a 50 and a 7-year-old can look so much different. But also, everybody, as I'm saying this, you're probably thinking of that 70-year-old that that looks like they're 50. Well, I could promise you that the 70-year-old that looks like they're 50 has the collagen of a 50-year-old or even younger. I think, as I said earlier, that muscle strength is a huge indicator of longevity. I think that the strength and the integrity of your collagen might be even more important. And you get it from diet. And if you're not going to eat, bone and ribeyes, and you're not going to eat 25 eggs every day, because you're going to have to eat a lot of animal protein. The next best thing is to supplement with some powder, throw it in your coffee that you can't even taste.
Right. Or all of the above. So I love that you brought up the point that it deteriorates over time. While children may benefit, the older you are, you're going to benefit more. And I
Mhm.
had Charlene Giselle on my podcast talking about primal living. And I honestly, I see a lot of skin. I've never seen anyone with more beautiful skin in my life. And she was talking about how she eats exactly how you're describing, and she chews on bones and sucks the marrow and eats all the ligaments. And this was in July, and I committed to doing this, and I still have yet to do it. We talked a little bit about bone marrow, but I just haven't done it as much because it's so deeply ingrained as this limiting belief growing up, the way that we eat in this culture, that has me a little reflective and awestruck on my own behaviors. And I obviously want to educate the audience on other things. And it's interesting that you said that a lot of people don't believe we need to supplement. And when I trained, I studied nutrition at Cornell University, and I was taught very emphatically that supplementation will just make expensive urine. And we're finding this to be so untrue, especially nowadays, the way we farm and the types of foods that we're eating, they're not as nutritionally dense as maybe they were 50, 70 years ago. So I think, as far as eating, what foods should people look to eat before we jump into the supplementation and the dosages or the quantity you recommend for that? Like what foods, and when we're making eggs. So if I had eggs for breakfast this morning, do you scrape the membrane on the inside? Should we be scraping the membrane on the inside if we can get that out and eating it? Like what kind of nuances can you recommend?
Well, how I eat, and even before I get to that, we're the supplement company, CBD Supplements, that I tell people all the time, don't buy our product. I would rather you get nutrition from food, because I do believe that you can achieve, health and wellness from the right diet. It's just going to be really, really hard in 2021 or almost 2022 now.
Right. I
It
feel
was
like
a
it's a
lot
lot of
easier.
work. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of work, and it's so easy to just, for me, I add a scoop of it to my coffee in the morning, and it just tastes
Mhm.
great. I like the chocolate, by the way.
Yes, you and a lot of people, including my wife, she likes it too. It's so difficult in today's world. Our hypersensitive palate that has been trained that tendons and ligaments are gross. And we live in America. We're not living in other countries that are still eating cow hearts. We just throw that away. And actually we cut all the fat off when we eat cow too, which is like where all the nutrients or rather are. Um, but like our taste profiles have just changed. Like if you bit into just pure fat of a ribeye, there was no meat, it was all fat. 100 years ago, we might think this is amazing. Today, it's just too rich for us. Our palates don't even like it. So, I blame some of that just on evolution, that we're in like the fourth or fifth generation of this very modernized, hybridized way that we eat. Um, where if you think about what your great, 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 great grandmother used to eat, it was a lot of animals. It was a lot of stock. They ate the entire animal, and then whatever they didn't eat, they made stock from and then drank it. And they made it over and over and over again. If you make homemade bone broth, which I tell people all the time, go make bone broth instead of taking our product. You're going to get all of the glycosaminoglycans and proteoglycans and glucosamines and all the good things that come in bone broth, as opposed to just protein from our product. We use bone broth as an ingredient, so we're going to get a little bit of that stuff, but you're going to get all of it if you just make bone broth. You can use the bone like 10 times making stock until it disintegrates. 200 years ago, that's what we were doing. You didn't just kill an animal, cut off the skin, sell it to the leather maker, cut off some meat, and then throw everything away. No, we the entire thing. We just don't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
if you can, like, good for you. I've tried to eat liver and eyeballs and all that stuff. There's a really good company, Ancestral Health, that makes these the pills that you can get beef liver and eyeballs, and I love them. They're a great company. It's a lot of
Okay.
money
Do
for
you
their
have like any
product.
discount? Do you have discount codes with them?
I don't. I'm not.
I've heard about them from about 3 people. And what you're saying, so my grandmother's Spanish, and we used to go to Spain when I was a kid, and she'd always order tripe. and even as a child, I thought it was disgusting. And then one day we were with the family, and I look in the kitchen because I'm really hungry, and I'm waiting for dinner. And, they have the long siestas and you don't eat until 9 or 10 at night. And I see chicken feet sticking out of the pot, and I freaked out. I'm like, do we have to eat that for dinner, Grandma? She's like, no, they just make it for the soup. We just use it to make the soup and make the broth. And now I'm thinking, gosh, they were pretty brilliant, right? Like, why don't we do this anymore?
Well, because we're trained to go buy bone, or rather chicken stock, out of a paper container at your local grocery store. It costs you $3 and there's zero protein in it. Hell, they're not
Right.
even using the bones to make it anymore. It's just, a little bit of meat. There you go, and flavoring. So it's just, it's unfortunate. But again, that's why a guy like me, who does not, I don't do any other supplement besides ours. I'm not a big believer in supplements. I actually think most companies that make supplements are completely full of it, and they're not following a lot of the rules around it. Our product is NSF certified for sport, meaning an Olympian can take our product because we've tested it every which way. It's the cleanest product out there. We're the only NSF certified multi-source collagen on the planet. So we
Wow.
put our money where our mouth is. And it's the only supplement that I take because, take the food pyramid that the FDA says and just flip it over, and then have your base be meat and then a little bit of vegetable, a little bit of fruit. Try to cut out all the grains you can. Some are fine. I love sweet potatoes. That's great. That's how I eat. And then I take, we recommend one serving, which is about 7 to 8 grams of collagen per 50 pounds of body weight. And we're the company that, like, okay, so I weigh 300 pounds. I guess I need to take 6 scoops. No, we tell, I don't weigh 300, I weigh 200. But anyway, I tell people, like, you don't need to go over 4 or 5 scoops. Like, we're not going to try to take people's money. I would rather somebody take the product, see the awesome benefits from it, get your 2 to 4 servings a day, most people. And it's amazing what ends up happening. I mean, I've had people even tell me, they're like, hey, I got on your Instagram and I looked at pictures from a couple years ago. You've like reversed. And I go, thank you. I'll take it. I mean, there's a reason for that. When you prioritize health and you eat really good stuff, amazing things can happen.
Yeah, that's kind of everything. I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately, what we're doing with all of our decisions is either supporting the body to rejuvenate and renew itself, or, lessening its abilities by getting in the way with a bunch of chemicals and stuff like that. Right. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what are some of the effects that people report noticing using supplemental collagen and amping up their diet? Oh, and before we jump into that, though, I want to ask you, with the recommended dosage. So for someone like me, I'm 120, 125. So 2 to 3 scoops a day, depending on what my diet is like, all at once, divided doses with vitamin C. Does any of that matter?
Not really. The whole vitamin C concept is probably something you were taught at Cornell too.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
don't and I don't mean to discount that, because I'm not an RD. I do not have that degree. I respect the heck out of people who do. But if your diet, and this is a big if, because most people's diets are just crap, honestly. But if your diet is okay, you have enough vitamin C in you. Like, you don't need to supplement with it. But a lot of the feedback that we've gotten, and just what you realize when you sell a consumable product, is how bad people's diets are, because they just vomit out of the mouth and tell us everything. Our customer inquiries, and when people ask questions, it's like, oh, okay. So yes, it's an interesting answer with the whole vitamin C, not vitamin C. I could see us coming out with a product in the future that has vitamin C in it, just knowing how bad most people's diets are. But when you take it, it doesn't matter. Your body's going to use it. How much? It depends a little bit on your activity level. If you're exercising 60 to 90 minutes a day and it's high intensity interval or something big, yeah, I would probably tell you to take 4 scoops, not 2. Um, Whitney Jones, who just won Miss Olympia, for the third time last year, or a couple months ago, this year, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She was taking our product in prep for the show, And she was taking 2 scoops a day, and I'm like, bump it up to 4 or 5. You know, you're exercising for 4 hours a day, and she's incredible. I mean, she could do a backflip, like, and then still talk to you. How? But and when she bumped it up to 4 or 5 scoops, she started noticing her knees and elbows just stopped hurting, period. And she would recover and be back at the gym the next day. And I'm like, well, you just needed more. Your body was starved. I mean, yeah, she might weigh 140 pounds because she's pure muscle, but she's exercising like crazy. So to your point, 120, 125 pounds, it kind of depends on the physical load you're putting on yourself each day. But I mean, heck, I've taken 14 scoops in one day just to see what would happen. And what happened is I felt fine. I felt great the next day.
Right. Okay.
And
That's
remember when I said,
yeah, go ahead.
well, remember when I said earlier about the peptide chain in
Yeah.
collagen and how that was different than it's found nowhere else in the animal kingdom world except in animal collagen. So when you consume that, so whether you're eating steak off of a bone or you take our product, when the body sees that peptide chain, it goes, this is different. This is not normal protein. It's going to tell the body to do something different, and that is go fix and repair connective tissue. So connective tissue is a broad range: tendon, ligament, skin, blood vessels, you name it. Hell, your small intestine, yeah, it's an organ, but what's it being held up by? Connective tissue. So when you consume collagen, that's what the body does. That's what happened with Whitney, that her knees and elbows just got more support, because when you take collagen, it's going to do so many things. It'll help with your skin. It'll make your hair more amazing. It'll help with your digestive system. It'll help with your joints. But if you're only taking like 1 scoop a day, 1 serving, you're getting minimal, but your body, so you're getting 7 to 8 grams, but your body wanted 30 grams to do everything that I just named. Well, it's only going to pick one of those things. The body's smart. It's going to say, all right, it needs it in your skin first. That's the first place that it goes. So you got to bump it up. So a lot of that's just trial and error. It's hard to tell people, like, without sounding like, a snake oil salesman, oh, everybody should take 10 scoops a day. Well, no, you might only need 1 because you take really good care of yourself. But someone else who doesn't might need 4, but y'all look the exact same. It's just tough. So
just say someone is starting,
Mm-hmm.
starting and they're, 150 pounds and they start with 3 scoops a day and their diet is average, right? They're not really getting a lot of supplemental collagen in their diet, but they're eating pretty healthy and they feel good. Like how much time does it take to start noticing an improvement? And then when should they start playing around with titrating? So I'm kind of a like start slow and then, increase slowly. And then when you get to the point where you notice it leveling off, then you can back off and see if there is a difference, just to try to balance between cost and efficacy, right? We always want to walk that line. And then obviously if you go through a bout of intense exercise or you have an injury or you did a skincare procedure and you need to heal, then maybe bump it up for a short period of time. But how do you get to that titrating dose? Like, what does the timeline look like?
So I don't know if titrating with collagen is going to do a whole lot, because taking collagen is a lot like brushing your teeth. If you stop brushing your teeth for 2 days, what happens? Well, it's probably more like 1 day. Like, that like grime and filth that starts building on your teeth, but then you brush your teeth and it's gone and you're back to normal. That's how collagen is. So if you're someone who has eaten the standard American diet for 35 years and now you start supplementing with collagen, you could see benefit like in 2 hours. And
Wow.
seriously, I've heard the craziest stories. But it also might take 2 weeks. It might take 2 months. It just kind of depends on the individual and then how much they're taking. But I have heard everything from the 67-year-old grandma who is going to have double knee replacement surgery that now walks 4 miles a day and hasn't had that surgery. And I'm going like, wait, what? And then, I mean, even my own personal story, heck, I was told for 20 years I was lactose intolerant. I just had a leaky gut. And then I started drinking bone broth, and 3 days later, I can drink milk. Like all that happened there is that collagen supported my gut, filled in all the holes, and then now I can digest, lactase, the sugar in milk. There you go. And we've heard everything, the digestive issues, the joint support, and you can actually see it. The people who take our product that I get sent pictures, I do video chats with them, I can see in their skin a different color. I mean, I'm sure you see it too every day, that the people who take care of themselves, like, is collagen going to keep you from getting wrinkles everywhere? No, like
It
you're
it
still.
does help improve, there are a good, well, small sample sizes,
Mhm.
but improves natural skin barrier. So if your barrier is healthy and you have increased hydration in your skin, your wrinkles will always look better. So the number one thing you can do is hydrate your skin just to make your wrinkles look better,
Oh, 100%.
inside
And
out and outside in.
correct. And my comment of, is collagen going to stop wrinkles from happening, is more from the people that are like, well, I got these 5 lines on my forehead. Is collagen going to make them go away? No, it's not going to make them go away. It can make them healthier and look better, but like, that's not, collagen is not Botox. I'll leave it at that. But it certainly helps from the outside in, to your point. But the overwhelming majority of feedback that we get from people is when they take our product, they just, and I'm using air quotes, they just feel better. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means, I started taking your product, and about, after the first container, I stopped taking it because I really didn't notice anything. And then they reordered a week after that because they saw that when they woke up, their elbow hurt again. Maybe their digestive system was not as frequent and predictable as it was the month when they took our product. And maybe their skin, they woke up, there's a big blotch, and they just don't feel, it doesn't look as good. And then they get back into taking our product, and all that goes away. So then it hits them that, oh, I didn't see this dramatic, because I mean, that 67-year-old who didn't have the double knee replacement surgery, if that was every customer, we'd be a global phenomenon in a week, and we'd
Mhm.
run out of product because we'd be the fountain of youth. We're not, but for some people we are. But for most people, they take the product and they just feel good. And then they stop taking it and they go, oh, that's why I was taking it. Let me get back on it. Because it's kind of like brushing your teeth. When you don't brush your teeth for a day, your mouth feels like garbage.
Yeah.
Same
And
thing with.
it's like anything else. I mean, everything's multifactorial. So, her knee condition could have been highly contributed to poor collagen health, whereas somebody else, it's a different cause. And, that's why all these tools in the toolbox, there's not just one thing that works for everyone, but if it can help, why not give it a try? So you've mentioned skin health, you've mentioned athletic performance, joint health, digestive health. I'm thinking in my mind, I have a lot of interest in brain health, right? And if the stroma, if the blood vessels, right? There's collagen in our blood vessels. If the collagen in your blood vessels are healthier and you're going to have enhanced perfusion and enhanced blood flow throughout the body, including to your brain, any indication that we may have some benefits for brain health from, what you've seen on a low level? I know there's no science. I'm not familiar with any scientific studies on this.
No, and there's not, and it'd be super hard to even prove that. However, um, excuse me, to your point, it makes a lot of intuitive sense. And
Mhm.
we get that question about once or twice a week from someone writing in, like, hey, can your product help with, the neurons in my brain and all the activity, and Alzheimer's and all these things. And it's fortunate that we have Dr. Kate Shanahan on our team at CB, who's a 25-year primary care MD, who has ventured into this nutritional world. I mean, she's got 3 best-selling books, and those were definitely on the list of the books as I even started the business that quote changed my view, changed my life, all of that. So the answer that we've given people is, and just follow me here. This is where it makes intuitive sense that the neurons that are connecting everything, well, they're being held by connective tissue. Connective tissue is holding everything in place. The connective tissue is made of collagen, and the healthier your collagen is, and the more lubricating ability that everything has, because everything's just in better health, that would make sense that everything would be firing better, in your brain, in your elbow, wherever. So that's normally our response to people. And have we gotten the feedback from some of the elderly customers that take our product and have been taking it for years, that the cognitive function feels stronger to them, and that they can prove it with certain tests that they take. Yeah, we hear that every week. It's hard for me to, as a 34-year-old, to say that, yeah, our product's going to help the elderly and the people that have cognitive disabilities. But it's certainly had its impact with my parents, with some of our other founders' parents. And we hear it, from our customers on a weekly basis, that there might be something to this. It's all anecdotal. It's super hard to prove. But if it makes intuitive sense to you, then it's much easier to believe.
I mean, I'm not really seeing how it can hurt. What kind of side effects do people get from collagen? And is there anyone that should avoid supplementation with it?
Yeah, great question. And that's the beauty of our product and why we're a supplement company that sells one product. Like, we're not selling a pre-workout. Yeah, if you take too much pre-workout, it's going to make your heart explode.
We've seen that, in the history of things, right?
Yes.
The ephedra yeah.
My gosh, scary. But our product is just collagen. When you look at the ingredients, it's just collagen. So it's actually annoying to me that we have to sell our product as a supplement, because our product's just food.
Yeah.
Hell, our product is more of food than an Oreo. An Oreo is not food. Like, you look at the ingredients of what that thing is, and you look at our ingredients. If I went and grabbed a thing of our own flavor, there's 5 ingredients: beef stock powder, bovine, which is cow skin, chicken bone broth concentrate, fish collagen from skin and bone, and eggshell membrane. That's it. If all we had to put was beef, chicken, fish, and eggs, our product would be called food. So
right.
really,
why the skin from bovine? Why do you choose skin as the source? Is it just the most accessible source?
Yeah, it's super accessible, because if you think about the meat industry, the cow skin is a huge byproduct.
Yeah.
So we can say, we'll take it. You don't need to throw it away. So that's a big reason. But most products on the market are just that. They're just bovine. They're just cow skin, because it's hyper palatable. Like, you can hide the smell and the taste. It's just skin. It's easy. Once you start getting into eggshells and fish skin and chicken bone broth, I mean, there's a reason why we're the only NSF certified multi-source, because it's really hard to mix all those ingredients and not throw a bunch of crap in there to mask and hide the smell and taste. And like, we've screwed it up so many times. I mean, heck, this is like our 8th batch of production. And I would say that this batch, we finally got it right. And for 3.5 years, 7 different batches, I can't believe some of the batches that we had out there that people still bought. Totally safe, but like, it smells like dog food.
Yeah, but think about all the things we're willing to put in our body that doesn't taste good if it's going to help our health. Like, I'm willing to put up with quite a bit, but it sure is nicer when I could just sip on a chocolate coffee in the morning and it tastes good.
Well, it only took us 3.5 years and a lot of R&D to figure it out, but we did. And go ahead. Yep.
I'm still stuck on how we know this is getting absorbed. So what do you do in the process and maybe this is just the nerdy science part of me, but I want to understand how I know that what I'm taking is going to get absorbed, especially with someone who has leaky gut or a compromised and like lining. And I mean, do you want to avoid fiber when you're having it? Do you want to have, I have to think there's a way to hack the best way to absorb it, because if I'm taking it, I want it to be absorbed, and utilized. Do we know? Or do we not even know?
Well, I'm sure somebody does. And if I had a phone a friend, I'd call Dave Asprey right now, because he's the biggest biohacker, awesome dude that I know in that space. I mean, I would assume, but since our product is a multi-source and we do use, I mean, some people's bodies don't agree with eggs and they don't agree with chicken, and it's super unique. Again, selling a consumable product with some of the questions that you get. Because I would think that having a scoop of our product in your coffee in the morning, when there's no food in your system, that it's going to get absorbed that much better, because there's no competition. And our product is, most of it, it's hydrolyzed or it's in a peptide state. So it's not the massive protein that your body has to break down. It's already in that second stage. So like I would think that on an empty stomach in the morning or right before bed would be best, because right before bed, it's going to go into fix and repair mode with everything that happens when we're asleep. In the morning, there's nothing in your stomach or your
Mhm.
small intestine probably. So there's no competition. So it can go right to what it needs to do. That's just my intuitive thinking. I
Yeah.
don't have the research to support that, but it makes sense, right?
It does. It does. And that's kind of what I wanted you to get at is, is competition for absorption, and then also that it's hydrolyzed and it's broken down into its essential form that can be utilized by the body, like the individual bricks, and then your body can build what it needs to build from that. And I know that Dave will often recommend taking some before bed as well to help with sleep.
Mhm.
Let's talk about, are there side effects that people report?
Um, so some of the side effects that we get are those egg and chicken allergies.
Hmm.
That people might say, I'm allergic to chicken. Can I have your product? Well, I mean, probably, but probably not. Like I just tell people, go buy Dave's product. Go buy Bulletproof. It's a great company, or if you need a chicken only collagen, go buy Vital Proteins. They're a great company. Buy the orange label. Like our product is very specific. We wanted all of the animals, all the types. It's like the entire vegetable garden, not just broccoli. Broccoli's great. It's awesome, but we like carrots and squash and zucchini and all of them. So that's our product. And we are who we are. So I got no problem recommending someone else. But those are the main side effects, that it's the chicken or the fish allergy. And a lot of times people had no clue that they had that allergy. And then they take our product, they get the stomach discomfort, they get, some blotchy rash on their skin because that's their body saying, whoa, something's wrong, whatever you've done. Um, that's really it. There are no horrible side effects like, oh yeah, if you overtake our product, you're gonna die. No, it's not that at all. Just could it might not agree with you and you'll figure that out from your digestive system. Yeah, yeah, you will.
Right. I'm curious what Dr. K has to say about this, but part of me wonders if a lot of times these allergies that we see or that I see in clinical practice are really food sensitivities because of the imbalance of the immune system. And once the gut is healed and the gut lining is healed, sometimes those sensitivities just resolve on their own and people are able to consume things that they were not able to consume beforehand. Okay,
Yeah.
so what is the difference between gelatin and collagen? I have this. This is bringing back PTSD for me because when I was a kid, I have very, very, you can't see in the video here, but I have very soft nails. I can push on them and they bend. I don't mind this. This was never a problem for me. It disturbed my mother greatly that my nails would bend a lot. So I would have to sit at the table and eat disgusting fake jello because she told me that gelatin was good for my nails and was going to make them stronger. So I think that's why I have the mouthfeel of anything gelatinous. I have a hard time because of those childhood forceful memories, right? So I'm thinking, okay, what's gelatin? What's collagen? Like, what's the difference here? And what are the benefits of both? If you can answer that.
Well, I'm probably not the right person to ask that, because I'll just tell you, like I don't know if I know the answer, but I would think that um, gelatin is a gelatinous material. I mean, when you put chicken bone broth in the refrigerator and then it turns into like that little, jello, and kind of what your mom made you eat. That's that I would say that gelatinous stuff it has all the joint lubing materials in it. So like I said earlier, the glycosaminoglycans, the proteoglycans, cartilage, glucosamine, all that stuff is a little soft. Where collagen protein, and which is making up your bone, take a bone and try to beat it against the table. Nothing's going to happen. It's not going to break. Collagen, it's thicker than brick, cement, steel, whatever. We have another funny article that talks about somebody came out with an article. I think it was the University of Missouri. Some RD said, "Don't put collagen in your coffee. It'll melt the collagen, and your body won't take anything." Collagen melts at like 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. So unless your coffee is liquid death, then nothing's really going to happen. So that's my thought, that the gelatinous material, it's more type 2 collagen, joint lubing stuff, where the hardcore type 1, type 3 that's in your bones, or type 10 even, that's like, it's like a cement block that you just can't, well, I guess you can break cement, bad example, but whatever maybe it's just call it bone, you're just not gonna be able to break it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
really, your mom way back when should have been supplementing with collagen protein, or giving you like bone-in ribeyes, or put our product in your drink. And then that's another big thing we get, is a lot of women that take our product, right into us and say, I have not been able to get a real pedicure or manicure for years, and now your product has allowed my toenails and fingernails to grow, that I can go get a mani pedi. And it's like, I'm married, I got 2 sisters, I got a lot of women in my family, in my life, and I know how important that is. Like, so
Right.
that's what your mom should have done. Sorry, mom.
No, that's okay. She's not alive. So the only, for those of you listening about the hair and the nails and things like that, it's not going to actually happen in a few hours. So the nail that you see takes a long time to grow. So we're talking about fresh nail to develop. And on average, your fingernails grow about 3 millimeters a month, and toenails about 1 millimeter a month, and hair about a half an inch a month. But it just depends if it's sunnier and, other things are working, it'll grow a little bit longer. If it's winter and darker days, it might grow a little bit shorter, or slower, I mean. So don't think that the collagen's going to notice, you're going to notice in your nails right away.
Yeah,
Um,
that
yeah,
one we typically hear about 2 to 3 months after someone's been taking it.
right. Because fingernails will be about 6 to 9 millimeters at that point. So that makes good sense for noticing. I still have soft nails, but my hair is better for sure with the collagen. So yeah. Okay. Well, great. I don't think I have any other questions. Do we have any other fun facts before we talk about discount codes and how people can find you?
Oh, well, fun facts. I would say that most of our clientele, it does end up being women, because they want to buy our product for the beauty factor, hair, skin, nails. Although the fun fact about that is that your hair, your skin, your nails, your fingernails, or toenails, the growth rates that you were just talking about, that's only going to happen if your body is in a healthy state and it's in homeostasis and all the processes are firing properly. I mean, your body is going to shut down your toenail growth to deal with the autoimmune disorder that you have. So, when you're seeing the beauty factor, good hair, good skin, healthy nails, that's typically an outward expression of your inward health. And why I even mention that is because I credit the female community for making collagen what it is. But if I could scream from the mountaintops to all the dudes out there, buy our damn product or do something to invest, because yes, it's going to give you the hair, skin, and nails. It's going to do all these things that, as a guy might not care about. But again, that is an outward expression to your inward health. If your toenails aren't growing, that's a problem. And if your hair's not growing, no, our product doesn't cure baldness. But if your hair's not growing anywhere on your body, like, that's a problem. So, just take a note from what our much smarter female counterparts do on a day-to-day basis to take care of themselves. And if the male population can hear me, like, living proof of it, like, I just started doing what my wife does, and oh my goodness, my health improves. It's amazing how that works. So that's the fun fact, that there are still, our product is bought primarily by women, yet we are a product targeted at professional athletes all across any league. The WNBA, the NBA, the NFL, it doesn't matter. We're trying to sell to anybody, but most people that are buying our product are just the mom or the 28-year-old or whoever buying the product for hair, skin, and nails. So if there's any way that we can continue to educate the community, that it does so much more. And hopefully this podcast has enlightened people that it's a really interesting topic to talk about, collagen, because it can do so much. And I thank you, Dr. Jen, for having me, for spreading the word, in your practice to your clients, on your podcast. Everything that you're doing is doing exactly what I'm asking everybody. Just educate yourself. Follow somebody like you that knows exactly what you're talking about. So just thank you to everything that you're doing.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, that's great. I mean, while we might be driven by external results, really there's a lot of other internal results. And I think with men, and a lot of the women listening to this are men, women, when women hear a lot of men complain about their joint pain and their aches and stuff, especially in 40s, 50s and beyond. So trust the women in your lives, or, trust what Charlie's saying here, and go ahead and try out the product. We do have a discount code. I believe it's Dr. Jen. I'll have that in the show notes. Is that what it is? It's Dr. Jen.
Yep.
Okay. And what % off do they get?
That'll take $5 off. So it's just a
great.
flat $5. We don't have to deal with percentages. It just takes $5 off. There you go.
Oh, that's great. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Before we close out, I think you kind of touched on this, but I want to hear it in your own words. I ask everybody this question: how do you define radiance?
Oh, well, the single word is energy. And that when somebody walks into a room and you can feel the energy, you see the energy, that's just a radiant person. They're just beaming with light, with enthusiasm, with positivity. That's just what comes to my mind when I think of the word radiance. It's a great word.
That's what it is for me too. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And then how can people find you, Charlie?
Best way is just to go on cbsupplements.com. Our support email address, it's just support@cbsupplements.com. I'm going to answer that email most of the time. I really enjoy engaging with our customers. And that's the best way to get in touch with us. I mean, we don't outsource anything. We're the company that does everything. You order a product, you're going to get a handwritten note from one of our fulfillment specialists. You're going to get constant communication from us if you want it. And we like that high touch. So, if you want to get a hold of me, I'd love to hear from you.
Right. And by answering your own customer service, you learn so much about the products and what they do for people. And that kind of helps you refine things as well. So I'm so glad that you're doing that. And your sense of purpose is really, really strong. And it's been so fun talking to you. I really, really enjoyed this conversation so much, Charlie.
Thank you, Dr. Jen. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to talk to you.